So I could identify the interrogation room because sometimes we could see from underneath the blindfold. So I could identify where I was kept. I was surely kept in room number 1 for a long time, and then in room number 10, and then in another section where, the rooms are smaller, the walls are kind of strange, they're uneven, unplastered. With the two exhaust fans, I was kept in one of those rooms for I think about a month or two, and then I was brought back to room number 10, and then I was released from there. So the majority of my time I've spent in room 1 and room 10, the pink colored room. My Facebook page, I've given some pictures, the media pictures of Aynaghor. I actually labeled them with numbers, as in where I was kept, where I was interrogated. I'll email them to you as well. So once I was taken there, I was blindfolded, and then I was taken through a corridor. And when my blindfold was finally removed, I saw that this was a corridor. There was a video camera in the top corner of the corridor, just facing my room, and there was another video camera inside my room, which was room number 1 of Aynaghor. It was right above my bed, and the walls were pink and dirty. It's dirty because they were old, and there were blood stains and writings all over the walls. A lot of people wrote the dates of, when they were brought there. There were a lot of Arabic inscriptions, and I could understand that. One of them was probably in room 1 or room 10, something which said, which really helped me. Something which read, I think it was in Arabic, something which read like, if you have found Allah, what have you lost? And if you have lost Allah, then what have you gained? Something like that, which gave me a lot of strength. The bed was a wooden bed, so it's the choki. So, and then I was, thankfully, maybe other prisoners were not, other victims were not, I was given a bed sheet, a pillow, and an ash-colored blanket. An ash-colored blanket with, I think, 1 or 2 red stripes. And ironically, this blanket was exactly the same I was given in Yemen as well when I was detained there. So this is how the room looked like.
The ceiling?
Extremely high ceiling. So there's no way for me to even consider escaping, because that's the first thing I thought about when I realized that they're not going to release me from here. There was a fan with a grill there, a huge industrial exhaust fan, which was very loud. From room number 1, when I looked out, I could see the window of the corridor. Some of my fellow inmates there, they used to say that they can see a tree or a bird or something through that opening, but I could not, because there was a kind of a net or layers of nets on that opening, which blocked the view of outside. Anyway, the way I was taken to washroom was, they would come, you had to bang the door, they would come and open the lock, then they would put a blindfold on you. Initially they would handcuff me. Later on, sometimes when they realized that I wasn't violent or not going to do anything like that, sometimes they would just put a gun and take me to the washrooms if there was an emergency. So I would go past all the other rooms. Before I went there, they would close all the wooden doors, the wooden door outside the metal door. So that's how I knew there were 5 rooms. Also, because it was so dark and because the room lights were always on, you could clearly see, when you looked outside, you could see the shadows of the metal doors. So I could clearly see there were 5 rooms. Even I could see the shadow of the person who was near the door. So this was clearly visible. Nothing much about the room. Once, I think, October or November 2016, they came and they actually instructed us to scrub off all the writings on the walls. But when it was taking too much time, they actually kind of painted the walls. I mean, not the entire wall, just some of the writings. Probably they wanted to hide something.
And between the 2016 2019 period, at any point, was it forbidden to write on walls? Like, was it specifically?
It was always forbidden from day 1. They would always say that make sure you don't write anything on the wall. But I would always write something. I would take notes. The notes I would take was, I would write the surah number and the ayat number so that I can refer back to those verses which had du'as. So I had a Quran, and I'm not sure if you found that. If you have the pictures, maybe you can find it. So yeah, so this was the west. Yeah, the Qibla. So the Qibla, the direction towards which we prayed, the wall towards the Qibla of room number 1. Right in front of the bed, I would write down all the surah numbers and verse numbers in Arabic. Like, for example, I would write 285, which means this ayat has. And later on, it became a long list. So thankfully, when they came and when they were erasing all of the, writings, They didn't erase mine, so it was there. Sure. Because that's when they would take, at least I'm not sure about other prisoners, other victims, but they would take my blindfold off when I was let in the toilet. Something I remember is every morning I used to hear a bike, which was surely the bike of an officer or supervisor. There was a bike, and we would hear something like a parade, not a parade, like someone shouting, the way they do in the army, like someone shouting and instructing. I could faintly hear that voice when the fan was off every morning. 2017 Ramadan, for 1 or 2 days, I was taken to that room right opposite to the interrogation room, where I climbed up and saw that mall-like building.